race historians, but today's 7th round of the Speed G Championship proves the action remains fast and furious at this legendary venue. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Derek Daly and Jan Beekes at this great facility. Since the last race, SCCA has done a little changing to the Audis. We thought we'd check in with their drivers.
Well, what happened after Washington? I mean, there was a big struggle in Washington where our car was, we had to start the race over 3,400 pounds, which it makes it almost impossible to drive.
We obviously had a major problem in Washington with braking. And our caliper temperatures were 500 degrees Celsius, which is pretty warm, means the fluid's pretty well boiling in there.
For this race, and it's a street race, they took some weight off of our car, but also they took a boost away.
So actually our car is basically status quo. We've got less weight, but we've got less power. But it means at least that our brakes are within the limits of safety. And this is something you have to consider, and I'll give the SCCA their due for that.
Well, the track they'll be tackling, Derek, is very unique.
And very famous. First run in 1967. It has somewhat long straights for a street circuit. Runoff areas in about 2 distinct places. Not really a stop-start as you know it. Very bumpy into turn 1. And of course, turn 3 is one of the most famous photographic areas in motorsport, the Duplessis Arch. And as you go down through 7 and 8, difficult and not too much room down there. And of course, the run out of 10 to the front straight for the start-finish line.
That's a look at our Sega track map. Watch this here. Now, Jeff McMillan had set a time good for 6th, but the ABS suddenly kicked in a malfunction and it flat-spotted all of his tires. He had to change them. That put him at the back. Randy Popes, as Derek Daly said at the end of our last show, if he kept his DC setup on the car, it should work. Boy, did it. Obliterated the old track record. One set on racing slicks, and he did it with the Toyota Proxys radials. Now, let's go to our starting lineup. Randy Popes with that new track record. Michael Galati, lighter, less powerful, but that Audi working very well once again. Row 2, Johannes Von Overback going for his 5th consecutive, a record 2nd place, if he can do it with Petey Cunningham alongside. Derek Bell qualifies 5th, and the top rookie, John Young, great job qualifying 6th. In row 4, Phil McClure, the Corvette, and Bob Miller, the Porsche. Row 5, David Farmer. After his win at Mosport, it's been a little slim. Justin Marks recovering from that huge crash at Road America. Then Tim Weens and Greg Merrill round out row 6. Let's head down to the front of the grid where our Woody's pole winner is with Jan Beekes. Jan?
For the 2nd event in a row, the Woody's Ice pole goes to Randy Popes. Now, of course, they were both street circuits, Washington, D.C. and here in Trois, Rivieres. So maybe the question is, Randy, are you now a street course specialist?
J'aime Quebec. C'est formidable, mes amis. Yeah, I have always been good at the street courses. It goes back to my beginnings in driving. I started out in a sport called autocross, which is a precision kind of slalom skiing with a car. And street courses have always been very good to me, and I've got a super team behind me. 3R Racing has put together a Porsche that can handle this street course. I think we have the secret today.
All right, well, he has a secret, and he has an identical car weight-wise to what he had in Washington, D.C. Not the case for the Audi. The Audi has lost 120 pounds because they were concerned about braking. If we take a quick look inside the wheel here, this caliper in Washington, D.C. was 500 degrees centigrade. At 450 degrees centigrade, it boils the fluid inside. They had no brakes. So quickly before they get underway, we're going to step in and get a word from Michael Galati. Michael, has the weight helped the braking situation?
Well, like you know, it helped tremendously, you know, especially on a street track. The S4 is running good, so we should have a better run than we did in DC. So we're going to take that.
All right, they got 120 pounds removed, but they also took away some boost. So therefore, he'll have 30 less horsepower, but they are glad to get rid of the weight.
Thanks very much, John. And who knew Randy Popes, the Georgia resident, was so continental? We'll be back.
Speed World Challenge is brought to you by Sega GT 2002.
It's the most advanced engine on Earth.
The Speed World Challenge is brought to you by Audi. In technology, performance, and design, our goal remains constant, never follow. And Toyota, get the feeling. And by Sega.
Well, Speed, here we come. The start of another race. This fabulous little circuit, the Trois Rivieres up here in Quebec. I've never actually raced here before, but it's a very demanding, twisty circuit, very exacting, beautiful place to race, great fun to do. We've had a bit of weight taken off our cars this week, but in doing so to save our brakes, they've also reduced some boost. The Porsches seem very, very strong, as you can see. P.D. Cunningham's had a little bit of a break as well, so his car's very competitive. The big engine Mustangs and Corvettes aren't finding it that easy due to getting traction out of the turns, but we'll see what happens in the race. Back to you in the box.
Thanks very much, Derek. I think this is going to be one we're going to enjoy. Of course, the Porsche has all that engine weight right over the drive wheels, gets out of the turn so well. But Derek, here we have the European-style standing start that they're using here in Trois Rivieres. I would think that pretty much negates the launch advantage of the Audi and the Quattro.
I do believe it does also, but I think the number one thing everybody is fearful here of is that Randy Pope is just so good in these Porsches, and this type of track suits his driving style. He's exceptionally good on these type of street circuits.
He really likes him. You may have also noticed there's a gap in the lineup right there behind Derek Bell. That's Phil McClure's spot. As he said, we qualified him. He was in the 8th spot, but he's going to be starting in pit lane. Green flag flies at the back. Red light going to be coming on shortly. Remember, when it goes out, the race is underway. And watch for the launch of that Porsche with that slight advantage off the line. Here it is. Oh, there you can see it. Galati, a good start. He's alongside, but Randy Pope to the inside, and Derek Bell splitting the two cars in front of him, going for third, actually, trying to get around. Van Overbeck couldn't do it. Derek slots back into fourth, but he got by Cunningham. Cunningham right in front now of the rookie Young. Here we go, underneath the Duplessis arch, as we are on board the fender cam, if you will, of Derek Bell. Love this shot, and that's Van Overbeck right in front.
Randy Pope, as good as he is on the overall lap, got way too much wheel spin on that start. Got the Porsche sideways. Look at PD, sneaks down the inside of Derek Bell, but Randy Pope, because of the stagger start, Greg, as you mentioned, was able to just squeeze down the inside and maintain his lead.
And PD Cunningham on a charge early, gets by Bell. Now Bell's got Young behind him. We're on board with Young, right behind Bell. Here we go. This is that turn 8, that big runoff area, and then down to the last sequence of corners. Very busy here. Looking back from Young for a second, you can see they are racing furiously behind him. Bell in front, right in front of Bell, the orange and white NSX of Cunningham.
Derek Bell did mention the big engine Mustangs, which John Young is using. We're on board with him right now, having difficulty planting the horsepower on the road, getting wheel spin, exiting some of these slow speed corners.
There is Randy Pope. So what's got to be concerning everybody else, Derek, he's had 2 poles this year. In each case, he has gone on to win flag to flag. McClure slowing, started from the pit lane, and whatever the problem was has clearly not been rectified. He is slow and trying to find a place to get off track.
Over for him. Here's one of the longer of the straights. Not too heavy a braking zone in here. Concrete patch change you see right there in the middle of the apex. But Randy Pope, as we have beginning to get familiar with him looking like this year, once he gets into the lead, it's very difficult to catch him.
Yeah, you mentioned that turn 4. That is that left-hander. It's a 90-degree like you think on a street course, but it seems a lot more open than a normal street track. On board, Derek Bell looking back at Young. And Young, boy, once that Mustang, that Celine, hooks the power up, it is a missile. But then, with all the power, it's heavy. Then you got to get it slowed down. You got to be a little suspect. Tires early, brakes later.
You can hear the brakes, and Derek Bell is beginning to squeal. As Derek said, very exacting racing circuit. There, the squeal again is exacting. Mean you need to be very precise as you turn in because the concrete walls are just so close.
As you saw momentarily, that lead group of 3 has opened up a bit of a margin over the rest of the pack. Cunningham losing touch a little bit with that group. We continue with these great onboard shots from Derek Bell. Oh, and they've gone by. Bell goes underneath Cunningham. Here comes Young. Cunningham might be in a bit of trouble.
Oh, has to be. A nice, nimble, accurate NSX like that, being passed that easily. Peter Cunningham is in trouble somehow. Looking to see, can we see or hear anything? Don't know, lost 2 places in about 2 corners. Oh, he's gone. He's gone to the pits.
Well, obviously, very serious problems for Cunningham to have a pit, and we have a yellow. Full course yellow. McClure, the car stopped apparently and was not able to find anywhere right there. and they're very concerned about that. And I can understand that you may think that car is well out of line, but if you watch racing here at Trois Rivieres in the past, sometimes, especially on restarts, they'll go 3-4 wide in here, but even not. It's so enticing there because it's so wide. That car over there, somebody bumps somebody, could get that driver in a lot of trouble, so that's why they've elected to go 4-course yellow. Meanwhile, let's check in with Jan. We saw Petey in the pits, Jan.
Peter Cunningham has made his way onto pit road here, and the crew works at the back of the car, of course, mid-engine Acura NSX, and it appears as though they're working on wiring, and specifically plug wires, which generally means that there's some type of misfire. We'll fire it back up. Listen. Sounds okay. Maybe it's just something as simple as a loose plug wire.
Well, this is a 6-cylinder engine, and it's got a supercharger on it. If you've got 6 cylinders and lose even one, that's going to hurt you. It's going to be very difficult to run. We are under full course yellow. The field is bunching up.
I've been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel.
It's perfect.
Macmillan Motorsports unveiled its BMW E46 midway through last season, and while the team has had success, the development continues.
We debuted it last year at Sears Point and did real well with it right out of the box, but it's really proven to be difficult development. We're a small team. We just have a couple guys that develop the car and don't have the testing time and money that a lot of the teams do, but we've been learning every race, and we've gotten there, and car's working pretty well now.
Macmillan won the championship in 2000 without a race victory and has finished in the top 5 in each event this year. Can consistency win him the title once again?
The competition is so intense anymore. Just finishing 3rd and 4th, I don't think is going to do it. It's just between the Audis and the NSX and the Porsches. It's, nobody's going to hand anything to you. You're going to have to go get it, and it's going to be a tough struggle.
And we are on board with Jeff McMillan, the McMillan Motorsports JJ Snatch BMW, truly one of the best turned out prepared cars on the grid. And you know what, Derek, this is the 7th round of the championship, and in the 6 so far, he's living up to his MO. Nothing but top 4s or better.
And Jeff McMillan also makes very few mistakes. And when you chase championships, that type of consistency with his speed can always inch you towards the top as the season goes on.
We're getting close to the restart, and for Peter Cunningham, that yellow was a godsend, wasn't it?
Absolutely, because it slowed everybody down. He got in, made some repairs, got back out again, and he's not too far from the leaders, and that's presuming that they fixed whatever was broken. Look at the Audi by Galati try and jump ahead of Randy Post.
Didn't get it done. Post hangs
John
on.
Young.
Oh, Young around Bell, around the outside. Boy, way out wide. Gives him the inside line if he can get it slowed down into turn 2, and he does. He's up to 4th. Great move by John Young, the rookie, on board right now with Young. Listen to the power, and you can, the snap oversteer when that big V8 kicks in.
So Derek Bell, is hounding him now. Is all over the backside of this Mustang. John Young, the Celine Mustang, a very aggressive move. Very good move. That's the type of opportunistic moves you have to try and make at a circuit as tight as this.
You got to put the power you have to good use and do something with it. And he was very effective with it. We're also watching Peter Cunningham. It looks like he may have picked up a spot. So Jan Beekes, it was a real gift for him to get that yellow.
But as you can see, Peter Cunningham is not making any inroads. The real-time crew says that he has just reported it's down on power. It's not that it's misfiring, it just doesn't have power. So yes, they were checking the plug wires, but they were also checking some vacuum tubes, anything they could find on that car that might be reducing the power. But judging by the lack of the move from the back of the pack, it looks like it's not fixed.
Well, keep in mind, you're absolutely right, that car, Derek, handles incredibly well, being a great driver, so he was able to get around Brad Flowers driving that older InfoVision Porsche 993, but that's about where he stopped.
Yeah, and really since the start of the season, or early this season, Peter Cunningham just has not been competitive in that Acura NSX.
And this, too, has big points implications, because he came in here the closest to Mike Galati, 17 points back. And if he finishes back in the points right now, and Galati maintains a strong run at the front, this is seriously going to affect things. Justin Marks working over the back of Dave Farmer big time here. Then right behind him, there is Cunningham trying to move up a little bit and get by Greg Merrill. And you can see, Petey, the car just does not have any kind of launch onto the straights at all.
No, this is a struggle. And if you can't get off these corners with a reasonable amount of horsepower, you have no chance of being close enough to any of these front-running cars to try and make a pass as we go on board with John Young. Looking back now at Derek Bell by dint of that very aggressive move on the restart where he passed Derek.
But keep in mind, a couple of cars behind Bell now is McMillan, who started dead last because he changed those tires out. So McMillan working his way to the front, and that BMW looks very clean once again. So he's doing a nice job at this point. And I've been watching Derek, that car crossed up coming out of some of the corners, even with the Quattro. He is driving it right on the absolute edge in this battle, trying to get by Young and stay clear of Marks. Let's see if we can go down again and check in with Derek.
Well, speed channel, there you are. Again, I had a poor restart. Car just didn't see on a pull in third gear, and Young just stormed by me. Got a lot of pressure on. Then Van Overbeek seemed to have a problem. Here we are, Young trying very hard, getting a bit out of shape all over the place, which is not doing me much favors at the moment.
That was a good point. I mean, at that last turn, turn 8, Young was a good 6-7 feet off the apex. He's driving maybe a little bit too hard right now.
I don't know. He looks good to me. I mean, you have to use the horsepower. If you're going a tiny bit too fast, use all the road that's there. Meanwhile, back here in a battle for 6th, Tim Weens and Justin Marks. Ooh, Marks tries to go down the inside.
Yeah, he got the doors shut. Now, of course, Tim Weens, his teammate to Randy Popes and Phil McClure, and Marks, we mentioned it briefly earlier. Boy, look at the smoke inside as we're on board with Farmer. Remember, Marks, that huge crash at the kink at Road America, missed the next round altogether as well, but he's back here and running well. But Farmer has to be a little concerned about this cockpit smoke.
Speed World Challenge.
No one gets you closer.
Welcome back to Trois Rivieres, and you can see Randy Popes continues to lead, but Galati and the very effective John Young early on staying very close in the hunt. Behind them comes Derek Bell and then Johannes Von Overback. So that is your top 5 right there. Good run here by Young.
I think that was Michael Galati that squealed the tires there as he went out under our camera position. But he is able to stay right on the back of Randy Popes. Distinctive exhaust note of the Porsche. You can hear that when he goes away from our microphone on the cameras.
Well, and you know, we were talking about Galati. Look at him, very close here as he comes up on Popes at this stage. So they're going after it. And whoa, that was on board Bell.
Totally gone.
Oh, you hear it, the brake's gone, and it absolutely woke him up. Now he's just trying to get it turned around. You got to do one of those 8-point turns here with the steering radius. Now he's back. Field streaming by, and he's got to pick a spot here, and he's going to drop so far back. But in the back of his mind, he's got to be very concerned about that next corner at speed.
I wanted to John Young see him come up behind it because he was within inches of just absolutely wiping John Young off the racetrack and planting him right into that concrete wall
again. The fluid's coming out. The fluid's coming out. I'm right to the floor. I'm just popping the pedal up and down to the floor. I'll let it cool off.
So obviously he's talking to the crew at that point. We're eavesdropping here, telling him what the problem is, but he thinks that he may have a brake line problem or something. He's losing the actual brake fluid.
Oh yeah, serious brake problem, no doubt, serious problem.
Kind of difficult around here without brakes, isn't it? Oh, I can't. I got fluid. I've got fluid coming out of the back brakes, which is making me oversteer. No, I'm going to have to come in, guys. I'm going to have a bloody crash here.
Well, you can see he is very, very concerned. And, of course, at a track like this, there is no margin for error. and you can see the smoke that's coming out the back, so he's definitely losing fluid, and it's
I bet that scared him when he ran down that escape road with no brakes.
It certainly sounds like. Let's see if we can check in with Derek as to the situation. Derek?
Well, speed channel, that's racing. What can you do? You don't like it without brakes. It was pretty nasty coming down there, I have to say. Anyway, I guess that's the end of my race for today. What a pity. One place I really started to go really quite well, but I had the pedal go down on the very early lap.
That is a shame indeed, but that onboard shot of how quickly he was closing on Young, if they'd have hit, that would have been big.
And in racing there are two separate brake systems, one for the front wheels, one for the back wheels. And if you lose the rear brakes, you will lose the pedal partially, but you'll still retain the front brakes. Here it is right here. Oh, look at this. Yikes!
Unbelievable.
Missed him. Oh, that is as close as you can get. I bet you Derek's heart was in his mouth.
And you know, at that point for Young, you're not looking in your mirror. You're looking into the corner where you're going. He has no idea how close he came to a huge wreck at that point. Meanwhile, onboard Bob Miller, as we drop back in the pack a little bit, battle for the 6th spot. Miller in 8th. In front of him is Weens. In front of him is Farmer.
I think it's ironic that the reason they took the weight off the Audis was to help the brakes. Did he hit him?
He did. He looked like he tried to duck down underneath. I don't know. That was not a move that was on. Very optimistic attack, and it caught him out.
From Bob Miller's onboard camera, we saw Tim Weens take a lunge down the inside. It looked really close, as if he might have touched David Farmer. But 3 cars here, all looking for exactly the same piece of road to use at the same time.
Well, it certainly messed him up. He dropped back. Now Miller, as we're on board Weens, ducks underneath Farmer. So Miller went from 8th to 6th in a big hurry. Farmer now in the sandwich, and Weens has dropped back. So Miller taking advantage of opportunity here.
Again, the big heavy V8, the rear drive. Oh, another squeeze drop like McMillan comes down the inside.
That's an aggressive move by McMillan underneath the arch. That's 2 cars wide, maybe.
Wow, Jeff McMillan showing some bravery here under the arch. Look at Tim Weens again squeezing down inside Farmer, and he makes it this time.
He gets underneath Farmer, and Derek Bell has made it to the pits. Let's go down to Jan.
Derek, not a lot of fun when you lose the brakes. How scary was that?
Well, I'd felt the brake to the floor once before on about the 3rd lap, and I pumped it up and I had brakes, and it was all right, but I was a bit suspect. Then I got to the end of the back straight, and it just went, and there was nobody at home at all. So somehow it all stopped, and I hit the bail, hit the tires, but not hard. And I came back, tried to do another lap, but there's nothing home. You know the story. You can't really drive around without any brakes. Not around here.
Well, I don't know if you can see it here in the mirror, but there's actually, I'll wait for the cars.
Carry on.
Oh, I know. As the cars go by, you'll be able to hear me. At the left rear, there is brake fluid pouring out of the caliper right now. It looks like they're going to try and fix it, but obviously you want to be sure that all those seals are okay before you go back out.
Yeah, absolutely. All I can say is, you know, I have so much confidence in the champion crew. They've always done such a great job. In fact, I think it's the first time I've stopped all year, so it's a pity it happened to be here when it looked like we might get 2 podiums, but, you know, Michael and I, but there you are, that's racing.
All right, well, hope you get it fixed up, because we'd love to hear your commentary.
Thanks again.
D. Bell, problems, and problems for McMillan. McMillan has pulled off. He is parked dead stick on the track. Corner workers trying to get him pushed back a little bit. So try and find out what happened with McMillan. Again, implications in terms of the points. We'll step away for just a minute. We'll be right back to Trois Rivieres.
The Speed World Challenge is brought to you by Subaru. Visit us online at Subaru.com to see the full line of Subaru all-wheel drive vehicles. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And by Toyo Tires, known for performance. Tires that fit you.
Welcome back to Trois Rivieres. Greg Creamer with Derek Daly, Jan Beekes. There are your leaders. Randy Post and Michael Galati, his shadow. Popst has led from the get-go, but Galati's never been more than that. Right there, 2 car lengths maybe at most, and a lot of the times closer still. So having some very, very solid racing. As we went to break, though, remember we saw Jeff McMillan had pulled off on the front pit straight. We saw the corner workers out trying to push the car. Well, they pushed him into the pits. Jan's there.
For Jeff McMillan, they have pulled the car behind the wall. We'll try and find out what the situation was. Jeff, what was the problem?
I think I broke a drive shaft.
Something in the drivetrain. I just got nothing. Come off the corner and something snapped, and I was going nowhere.
How was it up until that point, changing tires and starting from the back? Did you feel like that was going to work in your favor there?
I was running well early, and then I started, these brake problems came back that I had in qualifying. So I was practically driving without brakes, and I was having a little trouble moving up then. It's the best we could do.
Now, Derek Bell had some trouble with the brakes as well. Do you think this might even be harder on brakes than what we saw in Washington?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is.
Wow. So two good cars with brake trouble. Something to look for.
Very, very unfortunate for McMillan with that great run of top 4 is now gone. And this track bumpy. We've seen the bumps from the onboards. Maybe that played into the problem. Meanwhile, we go on board with David Farmer. Now, remember, we saw some smoke in this car earlier. We're going to keep an eye out for here. This is the battle, essentially, for the 7th spot. And Farmer right behind Tim Weens right now as they work their way now down and through turn 2, and then the run right here, turn 3 underneath the arch.
It's only a guess, but I think Farmer's blue smoke problem looks like as if he was locking up a front brake. It was in the brake zones. We saw it a couple of times, and I don't see any engine smoke coming out right now. But here's a brake zone coming up.
I will watch for it and see at this stage. Didn't see any there, but he runs wide. Braking problems have been relatively prevalent here, so well, maybe Jan Bigas has the answer.
Well, the situation for David Farmer is that the crew reports an exhaust system problem. So they believe that they have cracked an exhaust system, and the smoke that you see on the car is related to burning the insulation that's around the exhaust. So it should be a situation they're hoping, and in fact it seems to be dissipating somewhat, that as the insulation burns, it'll burn away and then stop smoking.
Thanks very much, Jan. You know, Derek, during one of the breaks, we were talking about the kind of odd sound from the onboard of Farmer's car. Well, that might explain it if he's got an exhaust leak. So we'll have to keep track of that when we come back to Trois Rivieres.
The Speed World Challenge is brought to you by Porsche, what only Porsche brings to driving.
Welcome back to Trois Rivieres, and this battle continues. Randy Pope's just a scant few feet in front of Michael Galati. Then a little bit of a gap back behind these two who have been absolutely at war. Galati able to match everything Pope's doing. Similar lap times, aggressive, able to show the nose on occasion, but just cannot do anything with it. Then it's Johannes Von Overback, and right behind him is John Young, who is having a career best day. We go on board with Young here, and he is having a superb day, and if he can hang on to this finish, it'll be the best one he's ever had.
He really is having a good day here. You mentioned Randy Post. He was 0.8 of a second quicker than the Audi in qualifying, but the Audi of Michael Galati is beginning to match him lap for lap here as these two boys here, Van Overbeck right ahead, right in there in the dark blue car, as they try and chase him down.
Keep in mind as we take a look, Derek Bell is back on track and is going to be able to apparently, hopefully they've got the problems taken care of. So Derek is going to head back out on track. Now, of course, he's going to be a number of laps down at this point, but he's fairly well placed in the points championship, so he wants to get out and get as much track time as possible. Let's see if we can visit with Derek once again.
Well, Speed Channel viewers, there we go. Caliper broke. Guys had to go back to the truck to get another caliper and got the thing going, and here I am again on the way. Well, I don't know where the hell I am, but I'm certainly a long way behind everybody. So I guess we'll just have a bit of fun at this lovely circuit that I really enjoy very much. But I thought I'd have a better chance. Here's my nemesis coming up, the corner where I had no brakes. Okay, worked this time. Wow.
You can hear how much he appreciated knowing that car was stopping as he got there. Meanwhile, leaders working traffic, that's Brad Flowers, and he gives them plenty of room, lets them both sneak by unimpeded, and they continue to wage this war. And you can see how very aggressive that Galati can be. He just can't get it done. Oh, unbelievable. We just got word now. The officials, a black flag for Derek Bell, speeding as he exited the pit lane.
Ha! Speeding as he went down the escape road earlier.
Oh, man, this is not going to sit well with D. Bell. There's no question of that as we continue to track this lead battle.
Greg, look at this lead battle. Michael Galati is beginning to alter his line here as it appears as if he's beginning to challenge Randy Post.
Yeah, he's looking inside. He's staying close, very aggressive. Onboard belt.
Well, guys, I got to go speed lane penalty because I exceeded the bloody speed limit. What a farce.
Well, you can see as we went on board there, Derek not exactly real pleased with this.
And I know I never went above 37 miles an hour. Maybe I went too fast, too soon.
Well, that's it. He's pretty confident in what he did, but the officials have the radar gun there, and they have to, I guess, go with what the gun tells them. So Derek will be stopping in for another visit at pit lane, while his teammate here, Galati, able to really start to take the challenge now to Popes. You can see the big bumps there, and then there's that other one right mid-corner as they go underneath the arch. It really unsettles the cars.
Yeah, Galati wider on the exit. You can see him turn in on a tighter line at times than Randy Post, but Randy Post, I still believe he just looks as if he's in control. Meanwhile, D-Bell has to come down and serve a stop and go. Now he's probably only 9 laps down.
Now the question is, he went right up through the gearbox as fast as possible. Hopefully he had crossed that line and was in no danger of getting caught once again with that. So he's back out and going at it just a little bit further down the order than he was. Laps adrift anyway. Didn't really affect his race position at all. Meanwhile, we hop on board with Randy Post as he is running out front in the first Interstate in 3R Racing Porsche. Is in his 3rd straight. Move from pole to flag win? We'll find out.
Proud of this.
Call now.
We are back at Trois Rivieres. Once again, Michael Galati has got to be getting tired of seeing a blue wing in front of him. He is this close. He is in spots. He looks even quicker than Popes. He's not able to do anything with it.
Running exactly the same lap times by about 1/10 of a second. Either way, something stuck in the radiator of Galati's car. A little bit of paper. I don't think that's going to cause too much trouble. But Randy Post has the track position. See how tight? Galati continually takes a tighter line exiting that corner, almost showing that if he could get ahead, he might be able to pull away a little bit. But Randy Post still well in control here.
Popes and Galati, that is how it's pretty much been from the outset. And right here, I mean, you can see there's absolutely nothing between the two. Galati maybe even a little bit quicker as they get down near the end of the straights. But then under braking, Porsche's got some pretty legendary brakes and it evens out. And in the background here, there is Johannes Von Overback, who, by the way, if he doesn't pick off one more spot, he's going to lose a little bit of a shot at history.
Oh, a record.
Yeah. He had 4 consecutive second-place finishes coming in here, and that tied him, by the way, for the record with Tommy Archer, Bill Cooper, and Hugh Plum. He has an opportunity, if he gets second here, to set the all-time record for consecutive seconds. What does that mean? I don't really know.
It means he
but
didn't
it's
win
history.
any of them. That's what it means.
Yeah, to a race driver, that's exactly what it means.
Yeah, blue smoke coming out of Michael Galati's car. But now you see, look, the line is being changed dramatically, left and right. Surprising that Randy Popes is beginning to go into defensive mode here to hang on to his lead. Look, he blocks the inside line here. In the brake zones, you can see Randy Post moving to the middle of the road to defend his line. He's perfectly entitled to do that, being the leading car on the road. But defensive mode surprises me here from Randy Post.
Galati obviously quicker in the turns, as you can see it. Getting out of these tight corners, you can still see the launch of that Porsche works nicely, but by the end of the straights, Galati's gathered it back up again. It's just that he gets here not close enough to make the pass, and then the Porsche gets the launch with that engine over those rear wheels and that bite off the corner, and then Galati closes it up. And through this sequence of corners, through 1 and 2, from turn 8, 9, 10 here, Galati, I think, is arguably quicker.
Yeah, this is where you see him change his line just a little bit. Look, a wider line here, then he turns in a little bit tighter. Not quite as close this time as he was earlier. You see that? He just shows his nose down the inside. Not that he's going to try and make an attempt to pass. Look, a different line here, tighter line again. But I'll tell you what, Randy Pope knows exactly where he is. He being Galati.
Yeah, last time coming up through turn 2 there, he had Galati on his shoulder. Not so this time for Randy Pope. He leads it here at 3 Rivers.
Enjoying this race? Wish you could be on the track with them? The Sports Car Club of America is the only path.
We are back and very near the end of this 7th round of the Speed GT Championship here at Trois, Rivieres, Quebec. And the leaders coming up on traffic, and the car they're coming up the lap. How an ignominious moment for Petey Cunningham here. He's going to go down a lap with those mechanical problems.
Oh, look at this here. Traffic jam now for the leaders.
Petey in 10th right now, and here we go. Well, Pope's not able to get it quite done there.
You have to be careful. Look how close Petey is to the wall, fighting the horsepower, or the lack of horsepower here. Moves over, does he?
Well, I think Pope's with that. If Petey's still down on power, Pope's just swings out and goes around him. And oh, Galati shuts the door on, or excuse me, Cunningham shuts the door on Galati. Now Galati's going to try it again. Now remember, they're 1-2 in the championship. Galati leads Cunningham. And Cunningham's not exactly making it easy for his old sparring partner to get by.
So Randy Pope, oh, look at this here. PD tries to get out of the way and just bounds over the top of the curves. But remember, he is in a battle himself with Greg Merrill for 9th place, and he goes down the inside of the apex.
That was Petey's experience paying off right there, because he knew as Galati dove underneath Merrill, it forced Merrill offline, and he could maybe follow Galati through, and it worked to perfection, didn't it?
Trying to get championship points for a top 10 finish is Peter Cunningham, because his car is lame right now, doesn't have the horsepower. But look at Michael Galati. He lost a lot of time to Randy Pope, trying to inch his way past or make his way past that traffic.
So now, well, this will be it. We'll find out now if it's fairly clear running, whether Galati by himself is quicker than Popst or not. But I think I see the tail of another car coming up here. That's David Farmer, and Popst is going to catch him in a hurry. Still smoke coming from Farmer's car. We can see little puffs of it now and again. And, oh, you can see the exhaust pipe is broken on the side as well, so that may be the problem. Problem is, if you're getting all of that up inside the car as he gets underneath, but if you're getting all of that up inside the car, that can affect what you're breathing and fumes and the like. So you got to be a little concerned of that, and the white flag is out. So as Pope's got by Farmer, that's lapped up through the top 8. That's Miller right in front of him, and if he gets by Miller, which he's probably likely to do, he will have gone by 7th place.
Good looking racing car that Randy Pope is in, prepared by 3R Racing. They had an engine problem in one of the races, couldn't take part, I know that, but basically, that was at Elkhart Lake, but basically when this team arrived with Randy Pope, they were so on their game, so well prepared that Randy Post has gone out and basically dominated Greg the races that he has been in fairness.
Very true, and don't forget Randy's ability as well. And he's got one right here. Now, unless he makes a mistake on the last lap, this would be the 3rd time this season when he's been on pole that he will have gone flag to flag. He's only got a couple of corners to go here. Amazing for Randy. He missed the opening 2 rounds, missed Road America, as you mentioned, and he's still, with his winning ratio here, not too bad in the points. He's back. He's not in the championship hunt, but boy, he's shown he could have been. Here he comes, and he's going to do it. There's Galati, but not enough. And the win goes to Randy Popst, and just another dominant performance, and a dominant performance on the streets. For Derek Bell, well, Derek, you gave us a great show, especially in one corner.
Thanks, guys. Well, last time up the back straight here at this lovely track at Trois Rivieres. I can't believe it's taken me 36 years to get here. I do hope I come again. Great fun. Thanks, everybody here, for what they did for us. Very hospitable, wonderful crowd. Back to you guys.
As I said, Derek, I know it wasn't the race you wanted, but you put on a great show, especially in that one corner. So we appreciate it. There goes Mike Galati giving Popst a wave on the way by. And the rest of the field, we'll be back to visit with our winners right after this.
Speed World Challenge is brought to you by Sega GT 2002 120.
The Speed World Challenge is brought to you by Sega.
Welcome back, everybody, and Randy Popst enjoying the cool-down lap here, and boy, did he earn it. Again, pole to checker for the 3rd time this season. Here are our full field results. And a big story there, Justin Marks in 5th. Remember, he had that huge crash at Road America. The car he's driving is actually one the team had last year that Justin drove. They sold to an SCCA club racer. After his crash, they called the guy and he said, you know what, I haven't raced it, I haven't touched it, it's still painted right. They bought the car back, brought it back here, changed the seat, and Justin just brought it into the top 5. Unbelievable for Justin Marks. What a great story there. And you can see the rest of the field as well. You can see Derek well back in the order. McMillan, big story points-wise there. But up front, a great run for Randy Popes, and he's with Jan Beekes. Jan?
With his 3rd victory of the year, Randy Popes starts to extricate himself from the car, which is not an easy process with all the safety gear. Come on out here. Congratulations. Beautiful job today. That did not look easy.
Wow. I thought it was cool when I got in the car. Holy mackerel, I've never seen so much of Galati's little beady-eyed face. The Porsche seemed to have an advantage in brakes, and we were so good in that hairpin. I don't know, 2-wheel drive, it was set up. Good job,
Here comes Michael. Come on, step on in here.
Good job.
Fantastic job.
Ouch. I was weak in 1. He scared me to death down there in 1 and 2. The car started loosening up, but 3R Racing still got something magic in those tight corners. When we go to the faster courses, we're going to have to come up with a new secret because Michael had me in the faster corners, and it made a heck of a race out of it. I love this Speed World Challenge. It's super.
All right, thanks for a great run. Michael, you certainly put the pressure on him. You heard him say that he was very, very concerned about you. Did you think he had a shot before he hit the traffic there at the end?
I don't think so. I mean, he was doing a great job. I mean, a couple of times I got alongside of him, but I think he was doing a great job. I was hoping he would make a little mistake, which he did a couple of times, but I didn't have enough, you know. But it was a great race. Thanks for the champion Audi. They gave me a great car. The S4 today was fantastic. Audi, all the guys. But we give a good run. I mean, it was a lot better than Washington.
Now tell me, at the end there, Peter Cunningham, who had trouble today, he's in the points fight, second behind you. Looked like he wasn't helping you.
I don't think so. I mean, you know, I thought of that. My thought process went so quick, and then me and Peter, we are very good friends. But when we put the helmet on, we both got a job to do, and we race hard as we can. So I cannot fault him to race as hard, you know, but that's the way it goes. I mean, you cannot just give it easy, you know. You never die, man. You got to keep on trucking.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, a great attitude about that moment by Galati, and keep in mind, PD was racing Merrill for some points, even though they were further down. But speaking of points, nobody likes to finish second, but you don't mind it so much when some of the guys in the championship that you're racing with finished way behind you.
Remember that Jeff McMillan a couple of years ago won this championship without ever winning a race. So Randy Popes, look, he is now in the top 6. If you give 2 or 3 more performances like that, you could well be in championship contention here.
Meanwhile, let's go back down to Victory Circle with Jan.
And 6 times in a row, you find yourself on the podium, Johannes. And but today, you dropped back. Something about a missed shift?
Yeah, I just blew it. The Flextronic Shoreline Brocade G&W Porsche was running great, and I hit that curbing, classic mistake, and tried to shift at the same time, and got stuck in first gear. And anyways, we got going again and salvaged what we could, but it's a little disappointing for the guys.
Now, because you have a brand new car, you had some extra weight that Randy did not have because his car is not the newest model. That hurt you here?
Weight always hurts. I mean, every time you try to accelerate or brake or turn, it's a hindrance. But luckily, we're at the top of the mountain in terms of weight, rewards weight. So at least we'll be stabilized from here on out.
All right. Well, a great day points-wise. Thanks.
Thanks very much.
And even though he didn't make history with his 5th straight second place, 6 straight podiums, that's not so bad. Let's take a look at our rookie standings. And John Young, a great drive here. Once again, best ever for his career, and that expands his margin over Tim Weens. Brad Flowers, that older Porsche 993, doing a nice job. Then Merrill and Mike Culver round out the top 5. The manufacturer points, Porsche up by 9 over Audi with the help of Randy Pope, certainly. Acura a little bit further back than they'd certainly like to be, or Petey Cunningham would like it. Then BMW only a point behind, and then the Celine back in 5th. So that's our top 5. Now, here's the Rogaine hair raising pass, and it goes, well, it was an attempt anyway. It goes to Tim Weens, coming from, I don't know, Montreal, trying to get by, and dives down underneath and makes it stick and gets around Dave Farmer. And for that, he picks up a nice bonus from the folks at Rogaine, going to Tim Weens. So congratulations to Tim. It was his 2nd attempt at getting Farmer. His first one didn't work quite so well.
No, but as you look back on the afternoon, P.D. Cunningham beginning to lose that momentum that you need if if you're going to be a championship contender. So when you look at John Young, he has the momentum going his way. You can't help but be impressed with how much stronger he becomes with almost every race that goes by.
Well, and the rest of the tracks, one would arguably say, would be better suited to that car. And keep in mind, McMillan didn't get anything today, while Petey did manage something. So the championship is very much afoot. Thanks so much for joining us here. For Derek Daly, for Jan Beekes, I'm Greg Kramer. We look forward to being with you next time here on Speed Channel for more from the Speed GT Championship. Until then, take care, everybody. As the green flag